Our next presenter is Emma Hoefer, and Emma is from Western Dubuque High School in Epworth, and she's the daughter of Ellen and Gregory Hoefer. And the title of her presentation is It's All About the Words. Emma.
Hi, so I'm Emma Hoefer, and I'm a senior at Western Dubuque High School in Epworth, Iowa. In my free time, I enjoy playing many sports, babysitting, and I am a member of the Student Council as well as the National Honor Society. Next year, my plans are to go to the University of Northern Iowa and Allen College to pursue a degree in nursing. The purpose of my project was to take steps towards closing the word gap through reading, beginning at a local level. In the attempt, I created a reading brochure and also hosted a book drive in my local area. So you may ask yourself, what is the word gap? The word gap is the difference in the number of words from children who come from a lower income family as compared to those of a higher income family. By age 3, the higher income family know twice the amount of words as the lower income child. At age 5, there is a 30 million word difference upon entering school. The reasons for the word gap may be not all can read. Like the parents of the children, they do not know how to read as well. Others lack resources such as books or stories. Multiple jobs may result in a time-lacking matter. Also, others may not see it as important. So why this project? By a show of hands, how many of you are read to as a child or read to your children today? Most of us still remember our favorite books we were once read. I chose this project to give children of lower income families the same joy I was once able to experience through the love of books. My English teacher had brought this growing issue to my attention last year about December through an article we read in class. My motivation for this project is to see a child smile knowing I made a difference. I was fueled for this project through seeing all the donations of books I received, as well as hearing of what a great difference I could make. The organizations that I partnered with were Mary's Inn, which is a maternity home for mothers. They have about 6 residents a year. They center around raising the mothers to teach their children the way of church, prayer time. They teach common skills to the mothers such as cooking and cleaning, as well as they help them build a resume and get back up on their feet. St. Mark's is a before and after school program. They also hold a summer program for parents who lack the finances of child care. They are highly focused on education as well. My purpose for choosing these 2 organizations were because they both help the lower income families, as well as Mary's Inn and St. Mark's both start from ages 0 to 5, which were the ages of the books I collected. So this is a timeline of how my project came about. On February 3rd, I had my first meeting with Colleen Pasnick, and she's the director of Mary's Inn in Dubuque. I met with her to discuss what my brochure should all entail and how I can additionally improve my project. We discussed that the reading level of the brochure should be about ages 3rd grade through 5th grade, reason being that parents may not know how to read. She also recommended adding examples of good books for each age level, whether Dr. Seuss could be for a 2-year-old or a 6-year-old. She also had mentioned donating books to the mothers that they could take with them as they go, which I did eventually use. We had discussed doing a packet to explain the importance of reading, along with talking about the beneficial strategies, to which I ended up using a brochure, which is kind of the same manner. The next thing I did was on May 25th, I had called Mary's Inn to announce that I had received the Herbert Hoover Uncommon Student Award. The project was a go, and I could not wait to begin. I asked her if there were any last-minute ideas, to which we came back to the same plan I had originally started with. On July 10th, I began my planning for how this project was going to come about. I decided my book drive would be held September 3rd through the 25th, reason being that summer cleaning would just be getting over and parents would be getting rid of books that their children no longer read or that they had grown out of. In Piasta, where I live, it's also the time of garage sales, so who doesn't love a free book? And I had also told some of the mothers about what I was doing, to which they just donated the books. School beginning again caused parents to see the importance of if their children was lacking behind or if their child was ahead. So that was also a very important factor. I decided my brochure needed to be done by September 14th so my teachers would have time to help me edit it, so that I would have time to fix the corrections, as well as I could get copies of the brochure handed out to the organizations. On August 8th, I began my brochure. This is what the overall view of the brochure looked like, with the talking and reading to children at the young age being the cover. So on the cover, I included an overall view of the importance of reading and how it can improve. I also included that it does not matter the race, the ethnicity, or the economic group that you're a part of, that every child has the potential to exceed the standards of the word gap. On the other cover, to which you flip out, I included the books recommendations for each different age level. For 4 to 6, board books with bright colors would be best. And I also included titles for those who did not understand the types of books I was talking about and just needed to be told what kind of books would be good for their children. On the inside cover, one of the growing questions was, is it silly to read to your child before birth? It is definitely not. It creates a calm bond between the parents as well as the infants. It also relaxes the parents after a long, busy week, to which they can sit down. The connection to the outside world comes through sound for the infants, as they have no other way of communication. As the child listens to the mother's voice, it also helps them become connected with them for when they are finally born. Listening to music is also a very good way to help the brain development for the children. I included the benefits of reading, that through the bright colors, numbers, letters, shapes, and the new words that each book includes, it can help with the communication, listening, vocab, social, and thinking skills. The best time to read for children would be waiting in line for a doctor's appointment or at the grocery store to when they're just about to run around crazy, so this is a good way to keep them calm. Before bedtime and nap time would help set a sleep schedule, and also it would be beneficial for the reading side of things. At a young age, anywhere under the age of 2, it's not necessary to make your children sit down and read for 30 minutes at a time. Even 5 minutes at a time would be beneficial to establish a proper reading schedule for them. Once they become to about age 2 or 3, and they can have a set 15 to 20 minute schedule because their attention span will be a lot longer. Different tips I have when reading. It would keep the kid interested when reading if you change your voice and make it different for the different characters that they have. Also, if you want to ask questions like, what sound does a dog make, or can you point to the lion? It would also help keep their attention. If you make funny noises and gestures, it would also make the kid laugh and find an enjoyment for reading. It is good to read the same books over and over to the younger children. Parents may find it very, very monotonous, but the children love the repetition, especially if it's their favorite book. So the next thing I did was I contacted the local church and asked to put a little blurb in the bulletin. I also put it on Facebook. The Piazza Garage Sales had a separate page, as well as local businesses. I hung posters up. So I just explained the purpose of what I was doing and that I was in need of used or new books for ages 0 to 5. Next thing was I was able to start my book drive on September 3rd. I began by putting a box in each of the churches. I also had asked many of the mothers to bring the books to me through the time period of the 3rd through the 25th. I had originally started with a goal of about 200 books to raise. I picked up all of the books on September 25th. I had numerous amounts of people drop them off at my house just because they did not belong to the church or they had nowhere else to put them, so I kindly accepted them. Judges, do you want to take a guess at how many books are in those boxes? I'll just tell you. I raised 1,030 books. My next step was I organized the books in by ages 0 to 5. The 0 to 1 year olds included the board books with bright colors, the simple illustrations, and the repeated words, along with the clearly labeled objects. For ages 2 to 3, the picture books were the main ones, just because at that age is when you establish the love of reading for them. For the 3, 4, and 5s, it was attempting to read on their own. And I had a very special box of books that was included with this little boy, Benny. He passed away when he was 18 months old, and his parents were very thankful for what I was doing. They included a thank you note. Emma, we want to wish you luck with your book drive ahead. Thank you for recognizing the importance of books in children's lives. We wish to donate this box of books for your own project, the many children you need in repeating materials. The books are given in honor of our grandson, Benny Bauer, who went to heaven 3 years ago today. This is one way we wish to honor his memory. He loved books, and we hope the books will bring joy to the little children around our area. Thank you, the Bauer family. So that kind of just fueled my enjoyment a little bit more for this project. The next thing I did was I got my teachers to edit it. The English teachers checked for the grammar, punctuation, and the appropriate reading levels. My psychology teacher also added a few more reading facts that he had learned. I dropped the books off on October 4th at Mary's Inn. There was 5 to 10 books in each plastic bag along with a reading brochure. They received 20 packages to be sent home with the mothers. Colleen Pasnick, the director, wrote this little feedback. I was happy that Emma Hoefer contacted me about her project encouraging parents to read to young children. She has obviously put a lot of time, manner, effort. We at Mary's Maternity Home encourage our residents to read to their infants as much as possible. We have lots of board books here, but now thanks to Emma's efforts, we will be able to send books along with the mothers as they leave. So overall, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. That was in one of the Dr. Seuss books that I had gained. So by being one small person trying to decrease the literacy rate by donating books in Dubuque, Iowa, it is still making a difference in someone's life today. Thank you. Are there any questions?
So the women who leave Mary's Inn with newborns, do they have other children? Or I'm wondering, the older books you collected, what do you do with those?
Yes, so as of a year ago today, they did not allow other children to live in the home. It was just for parents who were having their first children. But they have recently, in the past 2 months, now allowed the older children to live there as well. The purpose of the older books were so that as the children would grow out of the board books, that they would have a next step to come to if the parents at that stage could still not afford the books.
Other questions?
So do the mothers then return and exchange the books? Is that how you keep that part going?
At this point, I will just give the books to the families, and as in the years down the road, then more book drives can be held because new families will be moving into town, and as I go off to college, I can hold book drives in different areas to affect different families.
So does that mean, just to follow up on that, does that mean that you would expand that to where you're going to school in the UNI area, for example?
Yeah, that's my hope.
Okay. And then how would it sustain in the Dubuque community?
As I would come back on breaks and such, I would be able to hold more book drives, or at that point I could potentially have grants and find other donators for the money to give, to buy the books to give them more children.
Have you given any thought to your successor, because you're likely to move to someplace like Poland? And if you were to do that, what plans would you have for a successor?
Like who would carry on my project?
Right.
I have a younger sister who I think would be more than willing to do it as well. Otherwise, who's to say I can't carry it on from Poland or wherever.
And then when would the work start with St. Mark's?
So with the 20 packages of books, that was about 200, so I have about 800 books left for St. Mark's. I'm actually dropping those off this upcoming Wednesday along with their brochures. There was, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do with all the books, and they have recently just gained a whole bunch of children through their after-school program, so those will be dropped off next week.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Emma.
Thank you.